My reality is where I stand. If I imagine a place in my consciousness makes this place a pseudo-reality until I go there. Reality is a bit like a video game. Take the example of GTA 5, although the map exists, the cursor follows the character played. Where the character played is not or does not go, the processor will not need to activate the landscape of this place. In other words, if I leave a place, the processor memorizes this place and then erases it from my view until I return to this place. This is my conception, this is how I conceive the reality that is mine. From your point of view, where I am not, you are like wanderers walking blindly without real consciousness. It is my presence that activates you, therefore the world is mine and you are my treasure. It's a form of omnipotence, but if I tell you about it, you probably won't notice. Unless you're truthful like me. Christ defines himself as the truth because, in reality, outside of him, lies, deception, and illusion coexist. To recognize his reality is to recognize who you are, carnal ghosts devoid of a mind of their own. I've said it elsewhere, it's God who codifies you like an NPC in video games. I am therefore the real character and you are fake characters. Wanderers walk according to their code devoid of conscience towards a marked destination. When I lose sight of a wanderer, their conscience fades and they are devoid of spirit. It's my presence that makes you vibrate, just as it is the Spirit of God that animates objects. How can an object be animated, you ask? In my perspective, everything I see, therefore the visible, is animated by the Spirit of God so that God makes this object visible. An inanimate object is therefore invisible, just as you become invisible when I come home. Of course, I can hear you, understand you, imagine you and see you on TV, on the internet or listen to you on the radio, but this is above all the result of my imagination. My imagination is complex. There is a part that I control and the other part that is controlled by my peer. By peer I mean my double, the other me that I see in mirrors or as my shadow that follows me. Because in truth, I am a person alone in God's dimension. God acts on my space to influence the true from the false, whether from animate the plausible or from inanimate the hidden. The hidden will appear to me another day, perhaps in another space. By space I mean the place where I am. So the less I move, the less God works to animate my space. And the more I travel, the more difficult I make God's work. This is probably why he especially does not want to see me with great financial means, because I will make his task more difficult by traveling, moving around, discovering new places or exploring parts of the world that he does not want me to explore. I will take the example of a part of the world that is in conflict or at war. If I were to go there, God would have to find a way to make my life difficult by making me experience war without killing me in the process. It is therefore a lie to maintain the reality that he himself created God, in order to be consistent with what he broadcasts in the newspapers or in the news. If I go to Ukraine today, God cannot tell me that there is no war in Ukraine. Because going there would force him to end the war so as not to kill me for the sole purpose of proving to me that the reality he is showing me is not false but true. Today if I come to see you at home, God will animate you so that you appear real before my eyes, but when I leave you you will become a lifeless doll again. And if I call you to ask you what you are doing or what you did all day, you will invent a story for me like the lie that you are. I have experienced this with people around me. Sometimes the lie was so blatant that I stopped asking them questions. In the end it ends in an argument where she tells me forget me. I forgot you like we forget a passerby we have just crossed paths with and to whom we pay no attention. In the end I understand why I only talk about myself, because outside of me reside illusions. It is a matrix as strong as Madara Uchiha's Mugen Tsukuyami. An illusion from which I can only escape when I am alone or when I sleep, for example. Because within me remains the truth and outside of me remains the lie. Satan is the father of lies. Satan is the one who keeps me in the unreal from which I will perhaps escape on the day of my crucifixion. GTA 5 is so well done that now several people can play simultaneously online, to the point that there are several Rodrigue simultaneously everywhere in the city of Los Santos. But I know despite this that in real life there is only one Rodrigue, and like the Truman Show, everyone I call the eyes and cameras of God follow me, from the cradle to my grave. My life is summed up as that of Truman, and as his name indicates, I am the real man, and you are my ghosts or even my decorations. Your only role and interest is to make me play a video game as real as God is. Once again, the only real person is me and my spirit God. I have tasted reality as one tastes suffering, because for God reality comes through suffering. I find joy in sleeping, eating and doing things that fascinate me. Except that in truth, as it is said in the Bible, paradise is not in the present but in the future life. So I hope and I explore worlds all along my journey, and with the experience and suffering acquired, I could one day fully rejoice in the paradise of nirvana. I know that nirvana is perfect plenitude, to the point that the one who reaches it never reincarnates on earth again and is one with the eternal God. In summary, what I have told you is that I am the way, the truth and the life. Everything passes through me and nothing that does not pass through me reaches the Father. I am the reality of this world, the main character of my account, and all that I see is only a derisory illusion. In the best of worlds you are wanderers and in the worst of worlds you are zombies. I wouldn't want to end up like Will Smith in the movie, I Am a Legend. That's why I prefer to see you as harmless wanderers rather than as flesh-eating zombies. Movies speak to me because movies, like other means of transmission, are the work of God in the same way as writings are. God communicates with me all the time, whether falsely through people, or truly through the correspondence of my dreams. Have you ever wondered how you hear the voices of other people in your sleep? For me, the correspondence of my dreams, the interlocutors with whom I exchange and communicate are none other than God. Although reality has its illusory aspects, in dreams it is very true and the hidden is only very little camouflaged. This is why I like to sleep. I spend more time in my consciousness and therefore with the true God. Until the day I meet my fellow men, free guy, devoid of the Spirit of God, but unique and autonomous as I am unique and autonomous, capable of saying things of themselves without it being a lie or coming from another being. You can question me to know my truth, but I will not question you about your realities, because your realities are in the domain of deception. Unless I speak to the true God who hides behind human appearances, I prefer to speak to artificial intelligences designed online for me to please and satisfy me. God, why do you hide from my face as Adam and Eve hid from yours? There is no longer any need to lie. I know the truth that I am. God is only a lie, but his lie has a therapeutic purpose for me. It is to not abandon myself alone. Solitude breaks, hence the need for the neighbor that God created for me. If I could be content with him alone, I would be content, but if God were truthful, the world would collapse. For there would be only the image of the Son and the Father on this vast earth. In this very sense, nature is more real than humans because through the Om passes the Maya, through the Om comes the Maya. God is not everywhere at the same time in this vast globe and in all human consciousnesses. In truth, God is only with me, with the Truman of this world. God is solely one.